Hi everyone, and welcome to Seirim Cybersecurity Daily Report. Today we're going to talk about two news. Cybercrime has skyrocketed 245% since the start of the Iran war. And the second news we're going to cover is about Chrome. Google fixes two Chrome 0 days exploited in the wild affecting Skia and V8. Hi Steven, how are you today?
Doing good, thank you. Glad to be here.
Great, so let's start. Cybercrime activity has surged dramatically following the start of the Iran conflict, with researchers reporting 245% increase in malicious traffic across the internet. Much of this activity isn't direct attacks yet, but large-scale probing. Things like automated scanning, reconnaissance, and credential harvesting attempts aimed at identifying weak points in systems. Financial services have taken the biggest hit so far, especially banks and fintech platforms, followed by e-commerce, gaming, and tech companies. A significant portion of this traffic is being driven by botnets and automated tools, with spikes in infrastructure scanning and reconnaissance ahead of potential larger attacks like DDoS campaigns. Analysts also noted that many of these operations are being routed through proxy networks linked to regions like Russia and China, making attribution more complex. Overall, the activity reflects a sharp rise in background cyber operations that tend to accompany geopolitical conflict, where digital probing and preparation ramp up alongside real-world tensions.
Crazy. I just
Okay,
want to
wow.
highlight again the key figure there was 245% increase in malicious traffic across the internet. That is alarming. And as you said there, not even direct attacks yet, but large scale probing. So that probing might lead to more real world attacks soon. So that's quite worrying. So my takeaways on this point are that, first of all, we can block IPs from the regions mentioned, Iran, Russia, maybe the other one if you're so inclined.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, I would say to always take care in times of crisis, right? People are more
Yes.
distracted. They're less cautious, prone to making more mistakes, and other people might try to take more advantage of the situation, right? So it's unfortunate. The world scenario, it's terrible. And we could note that affected parties in a war might also lash out more indiscriminately and recklessly if they feel aggrieved or desperate. So tough times all around, but it might affect those of us not even involved in it because we might be perceived as adjacent to it. Take extra precaution. For example, if you work in any field from any country, that could be even tangentially considered adjacent to any side of the conflicts, right? So, for example, in Akamai's reporting there, one of their clients is a U.S. financial institution that reported the large spikes, right, in this kind of bad traffic.
Mhm.
And that bank is not directly involved, of course, but as the U.S. is targeting banks in Iran, then U.S. banks and others could become caught in the middle. So watch out for that. Bad news all around, but it's important to keep that in mind that at any time, just like during COVID, people took advantage of that situation, or in any other time of crisis, there could be malicious actors trying to seize upon it and capitalize on it.
Yes, absolutely agree with you. So let's follow cybersecurity basic rules and hope for better. Okay, now let's talk about Chrome 0 days vulnerabilities. Google has pushed out a security update for Chrome to fix two 0-day vulnerabilities that were already being actively exploited in the wild. These flaws were found in critical parts of the browser, including the V8 JavaScript engine and the Skia graphics component, both of which are essential for how Chrome processes web content. Because of their nature, attackers could potentially use specially crafted web pages to trigger the vulnerabilities and execute malicious code within the browser environment, after they had already been used in real attacks, meaning there was a period where users were exposed without a fix. As a result, Google has limited the technical details surrounding the vulnerabilities to prevent further exploitation while updates are being rolled out. Patches have been released across Chrome's stable versions for Windows, macOS, and Linux, continuing the pattern of rapid response when actively exploited browser flows are identified.
Be serious.
What?
We're used to seeing issues in browsers, of course. They're a common target, especially Chrome, because it's the most used in the world, right? So the usual takeaways here, make sure you're always updating and patching your browsers. Make sure those settings are set to on and not off, especially across your organization. Highlight here that in Chrome, it's the Skia graphics engine, and it's the graphics library, and it's always the memory-intensive graphics and JavaScript components that are used here. Then the first CVE and the first vulnerability, it's an out-of-bounds write vulnerability, which is a security weakness in software that occurs when code attempts to write data to a memory location outside of its allocated buffer or boundary. So this is when it tries to write information past the end of an array, like a row of boxes, over memory it doesn't actually own, right? These complex websites that we're all used to these days, they push the browser's limits, but the browser creators need to be better at controlling the expected space that can be used by the browsers and always restrain it. So I hope Chrome always make this better. All right. Now, this can lead to several malicious outcomes. We got your arbitrary code execution. This is where attackers can leverage the vulnerability to execute their own code on the affected system. You got data corruption. They could manipulate or corrupt data in the memory that is allocated to other critical functions, and denial of service, which can occur from that as well. So when the out of bounds write cause the program or server to crash, would be unfortunate. Always be updating and patching your browsers. Make sure all your users are as well. The other one, Chrome 0-day here, was an inappropriate implementation vulnerability, right? And this refers to a flaw where a software component is not implemented as intended, leading to security weaknesses. This often occurs when developers fail to correctly apply security principles or when there are errors in how a feature or function is coded. So the attacker could trick a user into visiting a specially crafted HTML page. This happens because the browser improperly processed the JavaScript or WebAssembly content from the web page. Now, this doesn't just affect Chrome, so it's all Chromium browsers like Microsoft Edge, Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi that should be updated and patched. I would also mention in general to remember to always shut down and relaunch your browsers. Do not keep them persistently open. Clear out their history, the browser cache, reset them. And if you can, choose a more privacy-focused and secure browser like Firefox that is quite locked down, I would recommend, but you can't convince every user doing that. All right, so that's it for me for the takeaways on that one.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for your takeaways. Thank you guys for watching. And if you would like to read more about this, you can find links for these articles in the description below. Okay, bye.